These are selected scenes from the 97-minute-long Beading Machine Basics DVD. Check out all the Covell DVDs at covell.biz. Beading machines are some of the most versatile tools around for edging and detailing sheet metal panels. They go by a number of different names: beading machine, rotary machine, swaging machine, Jenny, but they all have one feature in common: a set of round dies that are used to roll details into sheet metal panels. We'll be looking at a wide range of machines, from entry-level to heavy-duty professional machines. Let's start with a widely available, very affordable machine. I've drawn a guideline on a piece of 20-gauge steel, and I'll use this to locate the bead. So let's put this in the machine, and I'll crank it through. And there's our 1/4-inch bead on a piece of 20-gauge steel. These rounding over dies have a lot of different uses, and they come in 4 sizes. I've got the smallest size on the machine now. This is a 5/16 radius. So I have a cylinder and an end cap. So I'll use the rounding over dies to put a 45-degree curl on the edge of both parts. We'll put the cylinder in place first, and I'll turn this down 2 full turns. And then roll this through the dies. So that part's finished. So you can see that does a beautiful job. Now I'll put the disc into place and do the same on the disc. I'll fit it into place and turn the dies down 2 complete turns. And roll the disc through. Okay, so I'll pull this out and we'll see how the parts look put together. And now I think you can see how beautifully the edge radius fits together. So I welded the edge and sanded it smooth, and you can see it really makes a beautiful part. So this could be a small water tank or oil tank, or it could be any number of objects, but that beautiful rounded edge is easy to achieve with the rounding over dies. Another job the beading machine is ideal for is making a simple fender like a motorcycle fender. This will be a 3-piece construction, 2 flat side pieces and a curved top piece. This is a 5/8" beading die, which is actually over the capacity of this machine on 18-gauge steel. So I'll have to run this bead in 2 passes. So I'll put the metal between the dies and crank 1 turn pressure into this, and I'll make a pass from one end to the other at this pressure setting. So there's the first pass at partial depth. I'll come back and very carefully align the metal against the stop and go down 1/2 turn deeper, and we'll finish this bead off. So there's the bead at full depth, and you'll notice I lost a little bit of the contour on this part. I'll have to re-arch it. But nevertheless, I do have a very, very nicely defined bead, and I was able to make the second track match the first track exactly. These are the 1.5" radius rounding over dies. So I'll put the fender side in the space between the dies and then roll this entire edge through the machine. So now you can see how effective that little nose piece is for keeping the top die from marking the metal. On the fender's sides, I curled the edge first and then shrank it. I'm going to do it a little bit differently on this part. The curvature this piece has from front to back means it's going to take a lot more shrinking to make this edge drop down. So I made 2 passes at full depth at 1" depth. Then I made 2 passes at 3/4" depth, 1 pass at 1/2" depth, and I just now finished up a pass right on the edge about a 1/4" deep. And you can see how much curvature I put in this part. So most of the shrinking is needed at the edge because the edge needs to drop the most. So this is ready to go in the rounding over dies now. I'll put this piece in place, crank the dies down tight, and I can do this all in 1 pass. So I'll just carefully roll the metal through and these dies will smooth it right out. So as you can see, this is a really fast way of creating a complicated profile like this fender has. So the next step is to join this piece to the two side pieces, finish the weld, trim the edges, and we'll have a completed fender. The fender is finished and I've mounted it to the fork of the bike. And I think you can see it follows the contour of the front tire very closely. So this fender really is a nice fit on this motorcycle. And again, using the beading machine really simplified the construction of this fender. I used a shrinker a lot to pull the panels into the final shape, but I did not need to use an English wheel nor a planishing hammer. So this is a very simplified way of making a complicated part like this front fender. I'm going to make an aluminum inner door panel for this Model T Roadster door. I've done a layout on the inside that shows what it will look like. So there's our embossed patterns of lines. I think it looks sensational. And we couldn't do this without the urethane lower wheel. So now I'll finish off the edges of this panel. I have the edge of the bead laid out on the panel, so I'm going to set this up in the machine and we'll start rolling. The inner door panel is finished and mounted to the door, and I think it came out great. And remember, all of the work on this was done with the beading machine. I'm going to make a bomber seat, and this is a pretty complicated project. I've started by making a layout on chipboard that shows the location of all the edges, all the holes, and all the bends. And using the pattern, I've done a layout on a blank that will become the seat back. So the first step is to put the bends in this part that it needs. So I've made a special bending fixture so I can make a number of these and they'll all come out the same. So the metal fits into this groove here, and then all I have to do is to pull it back tightly against the fixture. And the way this works is it bends one half at a time. So there are the bends for the seat back. The next thing I'll do is to roll the beads and the seat back, and I have a layout done for all of them. Okay, so I'll back this off, and there are the beads and the seat back. I'm going to put a lot of holes in the seat back, but before I do, I'm going to run over the entire bottom edge with a 1-inch rounding over die to curl it, and I have to do that before the holes are in place, otherwise the flanged edge of the holes would interfere with the die. So I'll start on this corner and run the dies all the way around that bottom edge. Okay, so I have a nice curl on that edge now. With the edges trimmed off, this part has really become featherweight. I'm guessing it weighs about 1.5 pounds. And I'm really pleased with how it's coming so far. So now we're going to change our focus to the bottom, and I'll make a pattern for the shape of the bottom. I'll use a piece of chipboard, I'll hold it tight against the seat back, and then mark the edges for trimming. I have the bottom tack welded into place, and now you can really get a sense of what this is going to look like. I really like the proportions of this seat, and the parts are fitting together nicely. You can see this seat bottom fits the sides very, very nicely. So I'm going to finish the welding on this. I'll hammer the weld smooth so it looks great on both the inside and outside. And then the last step will be to put that reinforcing strip all along the edge of this seat. To really tighten up the sheet metal on that bar, I'm going to use a concave die on top and the urethane die on the bottom. And I'll flip this upside down and run it through one more time. So I think you'll see this will do a great job of tightening up that metal against the wire so there'll be no air gaps between them. So when this is riveted to the seat, it will make an excellent reinforcement. Okay, so I've done a lot of work with the shrinker and stretcher to contour this edging. And I have it just about perfectly shaped to match the seat. Okay, so now I'm ready to start the riveting. I'll take the first cleco out, put the first rivet in the hole, get the rivet squeezer positioned over the rivet head, squeeze the handle, first rivet is set, and there's 84 more to go. So the bomber seat is finished, and I couldn't be more pleased with the way it came out. This is really a fun project for me. So this is a good example of what you can do with a Beatty machine. Of course, we used a few other tools. The belling tools were very helpful, and the rivet squeezer helped a lot too. But other than that, it's just basic layout and fitting together of parts. So you could do a project like this yourself. In fact, I hope you do. Learn metalworking and welding from a master. Covell DVDs, the standard of the industry.